This is us arriving at Khleang Moung. Khleang Moung is about 2.5 hours away from where we live. And I've been there before, but I never really understood the significance of who he is. So we had to go and find out. The reason for this visit is because of the Thai-Cambodia border conflict. And his name just kept popping up. Khleang Moung, right? And I had to do my own research, and I wanted to find out who he really was and why he was so important. So to understand who he is, we have to understand Cambodian history. So from the Khmer Empire, there's been a lot of wars, a lot of fighting, mostly dealing with kings. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now that the Thai, before, they were called Siam. And they took over a lot of Cambodian land. They embedded themselves into our culture, into our land, and slowly they started taking over. And Khmer people, we welcomed them with open arms for them to basically take refuge on our land so that they can start a new life. And their whole plan was to take over, and we didn't know that. We were too kind to them. So they stole our culture, they stole our language, our written language, and made it their own. They created their own king, they created their own land, and eventually they took control over us. Taking control over us means that we were allowed to have our own king, but our king had to obey by their rules. Whatever they told us to do, we had to obey. So back then there was a king of Siam who did not trust the Khmer king. He sent his son, who was the prince, to come and basically watch over the Khmer king because he did not trust the Khmer king. And his beloved son, the prince, had a vulture, and the vulture was smart. It was able to deliver messages back and forth between the prince and back to the Siam king. So he let the son come over and watch over the Khmer king because he did not trust the Khmer king, and he believed that the Khmer king would not follow orders coming from him. So having his son there meant that he had eyes on the Khmer king. The Khmer king, seeing that the Siam king did not trust him, was pretty angry about that. So what he did was he beheaded the Siam's son. The vulture, he was worried and was like, wow, where's my master? So the vulture flew around to look for his master and found the master beheaded. So he flew back to the Siam king and delivered the message saying that the prince has been killed, he's been beheaded. So the Siam king, getting that news, ordered his military to go to Khmer land and kill the king and wipe out all of his kids, all of his wives, basically to make them extinct so that there won't be any more Khmer blood. The Siam military was under direct orders to kill all of the royal family for the Khmer so that there won't be any more kings left. So what they did was they killed the king, they killed all of his wives except for one. There was one who was pregnant and she was able to escape. And there was also a white elephant that was pregnant at the same time of the king's wife, who was able to escape also. So while they were completing their mission, they grabbed Cambodians by the ear, hooked them like animals, and killed them off. Any women who was pregnant were stuffed into a bag and stomped on by elephants. They were really cruel at the time. They tried their best to wipe out the Khmer blood. But that wife who escaped, she went into a village and she lived with the locals. And the locals, they knew that she was the king's wife, and they knew that she was pregnant with the next king. So they helped take care of her and helped keep it secret. So she stayed there until she gave birth. And once she gave birth, the villagers, they helped take care of her because they knew that their king was just born. And at the same time that the new king was born, the white elephant that had escaped also gave birth to a calf. When the new king's mother had escaped during the Siam's military invasion, there was also a king's guardsman named Moung who escaped with her. He left with his wife and 4 kids. Once the new king was about 5 years old, he started wondering. He saw everybody else with a mom and a dad. So he asked his mother, he was like, "Where's my dad at?" So his mom, knowing that he was wondering, kept doing what she could to avoid answering the question because she didn't want him to know yet. But eventually, when he was about 12 years old, he kept asking and asking, so she finally gave up and she took him into the woods where it was quiet and she explained everything to him for him to understand who he exactly was. And when he understood that, he promised his mother that he would go back and claim his throne. So the young king set out to plan how he would make his way back to claim his throne. And one thing he did was he studied as much as he could so that he could become smarter. And then he also learned how to take care of elephants. He became an elephant trainer and he was good at it. Also, the white elephant that gave birth to a calf was one that belonged to his father. So the calf that was born listened to him, and he was able to speak to the calf and tell the calf to do different things like bowing down and retrieving things, and the calf only listened to him. So he made his way to the Siam kingdom, and he would tame elephants and he would trap elephants, and he was able to train them and keep them under control. And when the Siam, they saw that, they were like, wow, they were impressed by him. So they brought him over to the Siam king and introduced him to the king so that the king can see what he can do. The king was impressed when he saw him because he was able to tame elephants, train them, and they listened to him. And they even bowed to him. So they were impressed. The king was impressed and said, "You know what? I want you to be my personal elephant trainer." While he was the king's personal elephant trainer, there was a wild elephant that came into the kingdom, and nobody could tame it. And it was stomping on people and killing people, and nobody was able to catch it. So the king sent him out, the Siam king sent him out to capture that elephant. So he went out alone, and he was able to capture that elephant. He talked to the elephant and just said, "You know what? Stop doing what you're doing. Just calm down and follow me." And the elephant listened to him. And when the king saw that, the king was like, wow, this guy, he knows how to speak to elephants. And the king was so impressed by him that the king gave all his trust to the Khmer king, not knowing who he was. Having gained all of the Siam king's trust, he was given a lot of roles and responsibilities, and he was able to make a lot of friends. The Siam king told all the men that was under him that they had to follow his directions when whatever he did. When he was around 16 years old, he remembered his goal was to go back and claim his throne. So he had to think about a plan of what he had to do so that he could go back to the Khmer Empire and claim his throne. So with all the new friends that he made and the trust that he built amongst them, he told them his plans and what he wanted to do. So he told them, "I need you guys to help me out to create a story to where there's a giant elephant that's running wild." So they had a whole bunch of cow dung that they floated down the river. Then they went around and making tracks of large elephants walking through. And pretty soon, the villagers noticed the tracks. And when they noticed the tracks, word got to the Siem king that there was like a giant elephant that was running free in the woods. And so the Siem king asked all the men who was able to go and capture the giant elephant. And the Khmer king spoke up and he said, I can, but I'm gonna need your trust. And the first request that he made was that I need you to give me as much men as possible, and you have to command them to listen to me no matter what. The Siem king, trusting him, commanded those men and gave them a whole bunch of weapons and said that you must listen to him no matter what until death. If any of you guys disobey him, you will be beheaded. And so he set out on a journey to go find that elephant. He set out for 15 days. And after 15 days, he sent a message back to the Siem king and told him that he was running out of supplies and he needed more men and more weapons. The Siem king, being so trustworthy of him, sent a lot more men with weapons, and he fell for the trick because he trusted the Khmer king so much, and he wanted that elephant so bad. So his plan worked. He made his way back to the Khmer Empire with those men and military equipment, and the Siem king, he was pretty much left with nothing. Once the Khmer king arrived back into the Khmer Empire, everybody knew who he was. So the first thing he did was he set an elephant out to go fetch his mother so that she can come back. So the elephant went out and grabbed his mother and brought her home to him. And once she got home to him, the king's guard, his father, named Moung, showed up. And he said, I'm here, Your Majesty. I'm here to serve you in whatever mission that you have. His name was Moung. As I'm walking through this area and looking at all the statues and the artwork, it reminds me of how people had to fight back in the days. How the warriors back then, they had nothing but swords and rode on horses and elephants, and they fought man to man. No heavy weapons, no grenades, no guns, just grit and muscle. I really admire that. Once the Khmer king returned back to the Khmer Empire, word got back to the Siem king that he had been betrayed. So once that happened, he sent out his men for them to go and kill the Khmer king. They had to do whatever they can to wipe them out, to make sure that there was never a king again. So the Khmer king, he heard that the Siem king had sent a lot of military men to come after him. He had to form his own military to defend. And so he asked everybody, like, who's ready? Who's ready to defend the Khmer Empire with me? And it was that one king's guard named Moung who stepped up. He stepped up and he said, I will help defend the Khmer Empire for you with my life. And the thing about Lokta Khleang Moung is that he really did help defend the Khmer Empire with his life. The Khmer Empire at that time was in Battambang. Everything else up north was already taken by the Siem. So they had a long way to come before they could make it out to Battambang. And word spread fast that the attacking army was coming and they were invading quick. So they had to do something to get ready and prepare for the military to come so that they can defend the Khmer land. Also, the Khmer Empire, the Khmer king, his name was Jai. So that was given to him by the Siem king, Jai, because he was able to tame wild elephants. So it was a nickname, Jai. The Khmer military has been through a lot of wars with the Siem before. But the problem is they always get overpowered because the Siam, they outnumbered them. Just like today, same thing. The Siam, they outnumber Khmer like 10 to 1 basically because of the population is more. So Khleang Moung, when he said that he was ready to fight for the Khmer Empire, he really meant it. But when he said he was going to fight, he was going to do it from a different world. And that world is the underworld. So what he told Jay, the Khmer king, was that I'm going to need you guys to continue on fighting, but I need you guys to dig a pit for me that's 4 meters wide, square, and 4 meters deep. I'm going to commit suicide and become an army of the dead. And then in 7 days, I'll rise from the dead, and I will fight with you guys, alongside you guys, against the Siam. So this right here is the pit, the actual pit where they dug it out for him, Khleang Moung, and he committed suicide in there, and a lot of weapons were thrown in there too. He jumped in, his wife jumped in, and 2 of his sons jumped in, and they were buried in there, in that pit right there. That's the actual pit of where Khleang Moung committed suicide so he could become an army of the dead to defend Khmer land. Before jumping in, Khleang Moung told the military that, wait 7 days, continue on fighting with the Siam, but in 7 days there will be a thunderstorm and a full moon, and that means we have achieved our victory. That means that I will be fighting alongside you guys against the Siam. And sure enough, 7 days was passed as the invading army came in. For some reason, the Thai soldiers or the Siam soldiers started having stomach aches and started getting sick, and they just fell to the ground, and they were dazed, they were confused. They didn't know what happened to them, and they became easy targets for the Khmer military to take out. And so they got killed by the Khmer military, and they all retreated, went back to Siam, and told the king that we can't fight against the Khmer army. They have some kind of spell that overpowered us, and we can't fight against them. From that day on, all the borderland that connects Cambodia to Thailand is believed to be protected by Khleang Moung. And any Thai person who wants to walk into those woods, they have to have a pure heart, and they cannot speak the Siam language, or something bad would happen to them. The reason why I started researching about Khleang Moung is because of this conflict. When this conflict started, I was really afraid that the Khmer army wouldn't be able to put up with the Thai army because they overpowered the Khmer army, just like I said, 10 to 1, and have more weapons. But fighting for 5 days went on, and instead of them taking more territory, the Thai army ended up retreating. And that surprised me when I saw that, because I was like, no way the Khmer military is able to overpower them. But it's true, because it's all over social media, all over different news websites, that those temples that they targeted is now all under Khmer control, 100% Khmer control. Prasat Tamwan, before it was 50-50, and they had Khmer side and Thai side, but now it's 100% controlled by Khmer. And stories have been coming up about what had happened. So the Thai forces, in the beginning, what they did was they dropped bombs from F-16s. And that's how they tried to soften up the ground so that they can come in and just clean up afterwards. They thought by dropping big bombs they would scatter the Khmer military and they would just wipe everybody out easily. But that didn't happen. They dropped their bombs and the Khmer military stayed in one place and fought. So once the Thai army started to invade, they came in and they just kept getting shot and killed. And there was 2 soldiers who had got injured and went back down from the mountain. And he gave an interview saying that, do not go and fight. He said, tell the rest of the Thai soldiers to not invade Cambodian land anymore. This is not our fight. This is their land. The soldiers who were giving that interview also said that when they were going up the mountain, there were only a few Khmer soldiers that were there, and they started fighting. Like all of a sudden, there was like black shadowy figures of military guys coming out and helping them. And they said that the Thai soldiers outnumbered the Khmer soldiers like 3-1 basically. But for some reason, they couldn't win. They were getting killed. And they were like, the Khmer soldiers are being protected by something. So do not invade. This is their land. We are fighting for the wrong reasons. And if we keep fighting, we're going to keep dying. So there have been reports coming in saying that Thai soldiers have been dying in the thousands, not just hundreds, but thousands. And I really believe that is true because the Thai media has been claiming that there's people in Cambodia protesting about missing their husbands and sons. They have no news about what happened to their husbands or sons, that the government is hiding something, but that's not true at all. Because in Cambodia, you can't hide something like that. But in reality, that's what's been happening in Thailand. There's thousands of men missing, no news or anything about them. And not only that, in Buddhism, when a person dies unexpectedly and they haven't been given a proper burial, their spirit wanders aimlessly, just thinking that they're still alive. So there's been reports of villages all over Thailand that dogs are howling at night. There's shadows walking around all over the place. Every Khmer soldier who lost their life was given a proper burial. But all the Thai soldiers who died on top of that mountain were left there to rot. And vultures came in and started eating them. And they never got a proper burial. And the Thai soldiers aren't willing to come in to take their dead because they're afraid of getting killed. So they've left them there. And those soldiers have been rotting. And now they're going around haunting the villages. And even their own men are being haunted by those same soldiers. So this is just a rough translation from Khmer to English. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to know everything. So in all respect, this is what I got from what I did from my own research. And if I said anything that was off or wrong, please help and correct me so that I can have the correct information that I'm putting out. And last but not least, this is something you don't have to believe in, but at least you have to respect. This is part of our culture as being Cambodians. So you can also do your own research. I have the video that I got the information from in my comment section, and you can go through it yourself and see if you like it or not. It's okay.